Well, hi guys. Um, I've not done much on the Traxxas V boat because I haven't got the hull back from the painters yet. So in the meantime, I've been playing with the truck. Now, I'm not a fan of these chrome-plated plastic wheels. I know it's supposed to look like a bruiser, whatever, but I was never a fan back in the day. I like the scale looking wheels, and these things are such a pain with 3 screws to hold them on, to these. The screws fall out and you lose them. And you can cross thread them, which I have done if you don't get them on square and all that kind of thing. So I got fed up with it and look some other way. You're limited with this setup to hold the wheels on. There's not many out there, that accepts this type of wheel fitting. You need 14mm hex or 12mm. So over the weekend, I had a look. Let's put these away. And I had a think and got a bit of paper out, a bit of drawing like I do, just a few little sketches. And I came up with this. Oh, I've knocked the camera. Okay, now, let's move the camera up a little bit. Well, I've just moved it. Now, I'm sure you agree that that looks a much more scale looking truck than it was before. I've managed to lose just under 15mm off the back track, the width of the axles, if you can see them there, and I've lost 20mm on the front. Now, it's not that difficult to do. If you've got a little lathe or something like that, I'll show you how I did it, and you might be able to find some other way to do it. The rear ones, the rear ones can be really simple, but the front ones, because they have to go over that 16mm bearing, have to be a little bit more complicated. But as I got into doing the job, it kind of, it dawned on me which different ways you could make these hexes. Now, you can see how close those wheels are to the shocker doors. That's what I was looking for, a scale type of look. Now, let's take these. I'll take one of these wheels off. Let's get the camera down a little bit. Now, get the right way around. Don't you agree this is a lot easier than messing about with them 4 screws? Okay, let's just bring this up. Now this is what I made. 4 of these I made. I managed to put the hexagon on with my lathe. I've got lots of little fixtures and things I make up. It's not the end of the world if I've got to put a hexagon on. But for the rear ones, you could go. You could actually do away with that complicated and actually use a piece of 12mm alley to go right up to there, because I've done away with this bearing which went in there and which was out there. So I've done away with that and moved the whole lot forward. Now, if I take these off, I've actually machined a flat on the axle itself. Now, okay, now as you can see, before it had this sleeve was actually in there like that. And it actually just sort of floated around in this housing here, and it was all black where it had been spinning. And then this ball race used to fit on there like that, so it would stick out that far. So there you go, you've already got like 5mm, sticking out that far. Now, if you do away with this, and you do away with that, and you put a 10x5 bearing in there, because the cutout is actually made for it, it fits in there perfectly, a 10mm bearing. Then I just made a little spacer to go, virtually like that, but I just made a straight piece to go in between there, just to space the 2 bearings out. So not only do I make that thinner? That's only 5mm to go in the wheel, but you've done away with the 5mm going that way, with the axle being a little bit shorter, and the offset on these wheels is quite a lot, you know, which you actually need. I've got the right sort of almost lost 15mm to what it was. Now, as you can see, I've got a little flat I machined on there, you know. That's not hard to do. You could file it or grind it, you know. I just machined it on there. But now, like I say, if you had, you know, I made them sort of like that because I thought I was going to have to use the bearing on the back. But like I say, you can take the bearing, take the sleeve out and the bearing out, then put the smaller one in, and then you could just have, you know, a straight piece of alley, and I just drilled it, or drilling remix with a nice fit on there, and a grab screw in it onto a flat, and then your back ones, it's sorted. You know, you don't need to make this ring. I only made it because, like I say, I thought I was going to have to put that bearing in there, have to sit it onto this spacer here, you know, blah blah blah, and it all gradually sort of goes out. But if you do away with that and just put, like you can see, I've got a little bearing in there, you can lose so much on the track of the vehicle. And you know, I wanted that scale look, and it's quite, you know, a simple sort of thing to do. It's for me, and I'm sure anyone out there who's got a little lathe, you just buy yourself like a little Clark lathe or anything like that, you know. It's so handy to do all these little jobs, because I've got a fair size lathe, but you don't need that if you're doing alley and, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, if you can get yourself a machine, I mean, I use my lathe almost like a mill as well. You know, I do a lot of machining with it. I put a cutter in the chuck, and I actually, you know, go up and down, and I can mill slots and hexagons and stuff like that. You know, I made little fixtures up so I can put a hexagon on, and I can put flats on. Lots of things you can do. I mean, it's only like a mill round the other way, really. You know, you're limited on some stuff, but majority of little things, you know, bits and pieces I do on here, you know, you can get away. I reckon you could get away with a small lathe, and, you know, it'd be perfect. If you can't use that, you can always use hand tools, you know. You can. There's a lot to be said for hand tools. I used to use them all the time, you know. Before I got my lathe, I used to use little grinders and files and stuff like that. Now the front one is same screw. I've made a little spacer to go in the wheel there into the outside, because I haven't cut the axle down. Whether I will or not, I don't know. But it's the same, exactly the same thing. Now, as you can see, I put a flat on it, exactly the same. But this has got a small axle in here, so you've only got that little axle in there, and you've got the CB joint that goes into there. Now, you know, you've really got to leave this on here. There's no way around leaving that on here. And to be honest with you, you know, once you lose the width off of these, I mean, you can see the difference, you know, if I hold them up. If I make, you know, the shorter ones like that, you know, you lose that anyway to start with. And you've got the offset wheels, plus this is 5mm, you know, you can lose up to about 20mm onto the front. Now, you know, there's kind of not really any way sort of round here, round this, making this diameter here, because, you know, you can't really fit another bearing in there because it would be too thin walled in there. So you've really got to keep that bearing on there. But like I say, it's kind of, I've done the flap. You just got to lock it up on there. Obviously I will use a little bit of Loctite when I get it all put back together properly. But I have got another set of wheels coming the same as this, because I've actually pinched these off of my total high lift. And they're not, you know, they're a few years old now and they're not very grippy, but that might be a good thing, because I know now this is going to be quite tiptoey on the steering. I've put some rates on it, and I've got quite a bit of expo on it, so hopefully, you know, they all spin nice and true, and, you know, I'm hoping But if I run some rates on it and be a little bit careful, because like I say, we have lost the width of those wheels, you know. It's oh, the other thing I was going to show you as well, which I think improves the handling of these. I don't know if you can see on the front here, you've got some little markings, and you've got like a centre line there, which you're supposed to line up with that. But you can actually rotate this axle round and give yourself some caster. You can see that the axle kind of, the actual prop shaft is sticking out a bit. It's not ideal, but if you twist the axle round, you can get yourself some caster on those front wheels, which I think tames the steering a little bit. It makes it kind of a lot easier to drive, you know. But you can't put too much on it, because, to say, it starts to kick that drive shaft up even more. But you know, with the big tyres on, you could sort of like drive it fairly hard. But I know with these more scale ones, it's not going to be, you know, I'm going to have to be very careful when I'm steering it, you know. Already been over a few times, but I think now with these on, there's hardly any play in these tyres, a little tiny bit. It's a lot nicer kind of set up, and I'm hoping it won't put so much stress onto the, you know, the truck. It's nothing's actually gone wrong with it. You know, that little shock I've got in there stops it from twisting the axle, and I've not had anything come off it yet. You know, it's been a really good thing. So let's put this body back on now. Whoops. I did actually break the front of the body, I must admit that, and I've made a little alley plate, which is a lot nicer anyway. And you also noticed I've kind of got rid of the bumpers, but you know, to be honest, I know it looks nice without the bumpers on. I think practical side of things, you will need a sort of bumper on here, you know. I think that looks, you know, looks quite a nice little setup. Now I don't know whether I can make just a bar to go on the front, or whether I can spray the bumper black or something like that, but it's the same with the rear one. Now on the rear of the truck, you know, I've got twin exhaust pipes on there. I took the bumper off like that. Now I know these stick out a little bit, but the original bumper kind of went on there like that, but I wasn't a fan of it really, so I'm thinking of just making an alley, polished alley sort of bit to go across there, find something that's quite strong, because I know them exhausts are gonna, you know, I mean, they stick out a bit. I could make them smaller, I suppose, but that's on the back burner at the moment. But I could shorten these down a little bit. I want to bring the body up, or the bumper up close to the body. You know, at the moment it's got that great big gap there, and if I could sort of make it come up to there, you know, I might even be able to make something out of alley similar to this, and the same with the front, because I've been doing that alley soldering and it's not going too bad, so maybe I'll have a look into that. But that's as far as we've got at the moment, guys. I hope you like the truck. I'm kind of quite pleased now. I wasn't keen on them wheels, you know, and she's, you know, I'm just can't wait to drive it and see how it handles. I think it's going to be a bit interesting, but you know, I don't mind. It's going to look really nice, and this truck's absolutely fantastic. It's never got old. I kind of really love driving it. You know, we've had terrible weather over here the last, well, I think it's 3 weekends now, like hurricane winds and things like that, and I've taken it out a few times and it's been a real blast to drive. You know, it just sounds great and it changes gear beautiful, and I think now with the smaller diameter wheels on, I'm probably going to have to gear it up a little bit, maybe another tooth on a clutch belt. I'm going to try as it is first, but I might go up, because it was quite fast. I might go up sort of like, I think there's a 16 on there at the moment, so I might go up to a 17. I'm not sure yet. So anyway, guys, that's where we are at the moment. You know, I'm changing stuff all the time on this, so if you just subscribe to my channel, or just look me up every now and again, see what's on there, and I'll see you later then, guys.